Hey, the Rowan Paler here, and welcome back. Today I wanted to share my impressions of a little indie title called Factorio with you all. So Factorio came out on Steam probably about 2 months ago now. I'm a little late getting this video up. I've just been doing a lot with Black Desert Online, but anyway, that doesn't matter. It's currently available in early access for $20. Now, this is relatively fairly complete as early access games go. Before it came over to Steam, it was available directly from the developer themselves, himself, whoever's creating it, on their website. And once they had it fairly well established, well fleshed out and created, they moved it over to Steam. So we're mostly just looking at the last balancing of the game going on, probably, I would say, another 6 months at most, and the game should be out in full release after they've patched up some of the bugs, done some balancing tweaks, and all of that. So what is Factorio? Well, that's actually kind of hard to answer, as it's a bit of an odd one. And I do like these odd indie titles that take a certain mechanic and run with it and do something unique. So the best way I've found to describe it is if you take a highly modded version of Minecraft, like the Feed the Beast, the FTB version of Minecraft, that has a lot of the production elements in it. So the automated mining, the transportation systems, the furnace systems, the assembly systems, and all of that. If you take that and put it onto a 2D plane in a Nomeria style game. Now, unlike Nomeria, though, you are actually playing as the primary person doing all the actions. You're not giving orders. So I guess Nomeria might be a bad example to put in there, but it's that those elements of the modded Minecraft version put into a 2D plane where you're going to set up your own production line to survive on what I assume is an alien planet. Now, unlike Minecraft, though, it doesn't have a lot of the base survival elements, I'm going to say. By that I mean like you don't need to worry about food or water or shelter or anything like that. You go right into the game, and from the moment you're in the game, you're producing a factory, hence the name. It's almost better to just explain what we're doing rather than try and give you a synopsis of the overall game. Once you see what we're doing, it'll become fairly relevant or easy to understand the overall concept of the game. So initially you start on this hostile world, be it Earth, whatever, and basically in your inventory you have a mine, an automated mining machine, a furnace that can be used to smelt items, and a little bit of steel and some other materials that you can use to create some pickaxes or something. And there's hostile aliens around, and they're going to eventually get pissed off and try to kill you. And we'll come back to them later on in this video. So what you need to do is you need to find a way to produce the elements you need to protect yourselves from these aliens. Generally speaking, you're going to be looking at walls and turrets. So to start off with, you need to get a reliable income of iron plates. Iron plates are kind of your base resource that you're going to be using for most things. So to do this, you need to mine iron. Well, you could stand there with your pickaxe and hammer on it by yourself for a while, but that's not very fun. So you start off. You take that automated mine that they give you, you place it down on a coal deposit, coal on the ground. You're going to go ahead and you're going to manually mine up some coal, and you're going to throw this coal into the automated mine, and now the mine is going to burn that coal to produce more coal. And it does this with fairly good efficiency. For about every one coal it consumes, it's going to produce about five new coal. All right. Now you're going to take this coal, you're going to mine some iron, you're going to put this in the furnace, and you're going to make some more iron plates, which you're then going to use to create another mine. And you're going to put this mine down on an iron deposit. Then you're going to go back to the coal place. You're going to get your coal, get some more coal from that. You're going to put that coal into the iron mine, and then the iron mine is going to produce iron for you. So now you have a source of income of coal. You have a source of income of iron. You're going to just go ahead and you're going to continue combining these. You're going to be throwing them in the furnace, making iron plates. Now that you have a bunch of iron plates, well, now rather than run back and forth constantly over to the coal, over to the iron, and back to the furnace, no, well, let's automate this system. The game, right from the start, you can create conveyor belts and these extractor arms. So rather than have to constantly feed coal back into the coal mine, since there's coal right there, we're going to go ahead and we're going to use conveyor belts and these arms to loop coal back behind the mine, and we're going to place coal directly in it. So now for every 5 coal or whatever that the mine produces, it's going to consume one of those back into itself to continue mining more coal. And now we no longer need to worry about the coal. The coal is automated. It's doing its own thing. We're going to then use these conveyor belts, and we're going to bring the coal over to the iron mines. Now the iron mines, we're going to set up almost the exact same system. We're going to use our arms to place coal from the conveyor belt into the mine. We're now going to be producing iron without having to run back and forth and feed coal into them. We're then going to take the same iron and coal, and we're going to run this towards our furnaces, and we're going to have an arm automatically put the coal and iron in, automatically producing iron plates. So now we could just stand there and do absolutely nothing, and the game is going to produce iron plates on its own. Not a lot to do beyond that, but this is just the first 5-10 minutes of the game. Now with these iron plates, we're going to go ahead and we're going to continue to expand. We're going to set up initially this very nice base, probably about 4 to 6 coal production mines. We're going to set up another 4 to 6 iron production mines, a couple copper, a couple stone, because we're going to need all these materials to start expanding. So within the game, there's a research tree, a technology tree. And in order to do this, you need to create these like potions. They're kind of like knowledge XP potions, which go inside these research buildings. And once you have these potions, you put them inside the research building, and the building has power. It will then start researching whatever technology it is you want to search. But the key there was power. Now, this isn't power like the furnaces use. It needs to be some type of like electrical power. So the next step is going to be to set up turbine generator to generate power for us. So we're going to need some water. We're going to run some pipe from it. We're going to put furnaces along these pipes, which are going to turn that water into steam, which are going to put a steam turbine on the end to turn that steam into electricity. In order to do this, we're going to want coal again. So we're going to use a conveyor belt system and some more of those robotic arms to feed coal down into these furnaces. So now we have automated power going on. Now we can use the power, run power lines over to these research buildings where we can put our potions in to automatically research technology. However, there's a whole lot of technologies we're going to need to research, and we don't want to stand around all day just right-clicking and creating a bunch of these potions. So the next step is going to be creating automated system to create the potions, because we can create automators that'll manufacture these potions for us as long as we put the right materials into them. And then it just, from there, it goes exponentially more nuts. By the time you're done, and there's really no done state, you're just going to have conveyor belts going everywhere, running iron plates and iron gears and copper plates and circuit boards and stones all over the place, producing all these materials for you. And if this is something you like, boy, Factorio does it really well, and it's really satisfying to set up. Where does the greater mechanic come in? Well, earlier we talked about aliens. So on this planet, I don't know if we're on an alien planet or whatever, there's not really any story in the game, is these creatures. They kind of look like worm, insect, centipede type things, and basically they get pissed off from pollution. So when you put down a furnace and you throw some coal into it and you start cooking that coal to make iron, it creates a little bit of pollution. When we start burning coal inside our steam boilers in order to create power, it creates pollution. When we start throwing coal inside our mines, it creates pollution. The more pollution we have, the larger the area that these bugs are going to be attracted from, and they're going to come attack us. So in order to progress in the game, we're going to piss off insects, which are going to come attack us, which we're going to need to defend against. In order to defend against them, we're going to need more technology in order to build walls and build turrets, which will defend against them, which in order to do that, we're going to need more power. We're going to need more production, which is going to create more smoke, which is going to piss them off even more. We're also going to need to cut down trees in order to clear up area to do this, which is going to piss them off even more because trees cover up smog. So essentially, if you're in the middle of a heavily wooded area and you just put down one smelter, the trees around it are going to cover most of that smog. They'll absorb it. It won't really have an impact. But once you start clearing out area to build, well, now those trees are no longer there to correct those things. So you get a whole lot more smog. And you just kind of have this growth of, it's almost like an arms race of, can you keep up with your production and your building to create enough turrets and create defenses needed in order to stay ahead of the aliens which are getting pissed off at you. Once you learn what you're doing, yeah, you can do this fairly easily. Now, the game does kind of throw you some curveballs. Later on, there are flying aliens and all this. But again, if you have the right technology, there's like radar dishes and stuff. You can see them coming in ahead of time and know to plan for it. You can also put up pretty good walls. You can repair the walls and all that. So that's all there. It's mostly just a very cathartic experience of optimizing and building and creating these production lines and doing them to the most efficient way you possibly can. Whew. Yeah, that's Factorio. There's a lot there to cover. Now, it's not all rainbows and sunshine and ponies. There are some flaws within the game. In my time at playing, and it's about 10 hours in, I've come across 2 problems. Now, none of these are uncorrectable, but they are something that I hope they address. The first and smaller problem is early on, if you start off, there's 2 biomes that I've found. 2 biomes that you can spawn in, either a wooded biome or a desert biome. The wooded biome is what you're going to be seeing in this video for the most part. They're great biomes. There's a lot of trees around. If you spawn in a desert biome, though, there's almost no trees there. So as soon as you start your initial production, as soon as before you can even start doing research because you're putting down power plants, you're getting your steam turbine down, that's enough pollution to draw in all the bugs around you. All the aliens around you are going to come running in. And there's no real way that I've found you can defend against it because you haven't researched turrets yet. You haven't researched walls yet. And even if you had researched them, you had no chance of building them because in order to build them, you're going to create so much pollution that it's going to draw them in. I don't know if the desert's just supposed to be hard, but I think they need to rebalance it that either you don't spawn in the desert, or if you do spawn in the desert, the bugs don't come for several day cycles before that happens, because I've yet to survive in a desert and really get it going. That's something fairly easy they could rebalance before they launch the game. Not a big problem. The other, I don't want to call this a problem, but complaint I have with the game is there's a kind of a fairly noticeable down point in the gameplay. Your first 40 minutes of the game, when you're first getting your research up and running, it's really good. I really like it. I just love laying out that initial base and everything. But once you have the research going, there's kind of this slow spot where now you just need to wait for the research to happen because everything's intertwined. In order to produce, say, a laser turret, you need to have a certain amount. You need batteries. In order to do batteries, you need oil. In order to do batteries, you need silicon. In order to do silicon, you need oil production. In order to do oil production, you need to do oil mining. So there's like these chains of like 9 different research things you got to do. This is a long time waiting on research. And while this is going on, I mean, there's some small things you can do. You can work on expanding, right? You can go out and you can find more iron mines and all this and increase your production to increase that rate of it. But you're not really progressing. You're just kind of stalling for time as the research completes. And once the research is completed, once you've got some of these technologies unlocked, the game picks up again in pace and starts going pretty good again. But there's this fairly noticeable down point, somewhere around the 40 to 1 hour mark until the 2 hour mark, where there's not a whole lot happening in the game. And it's not a game breaker, but it is disappointing. And they could find some new things to put into that part of the game to keep things going, keep things interesting. But those are like my only 2 real complaints about what I've played in the past 10 hours. Other than that, I very much have enjoyed it. As I think I said in the beginning of this video, it's going to be one of those games that either is instantly appealing to you or you have zero interest in. There's going to be very few people that are like, it looks kind of neat, I'll give it a try and it's all right. It's going to be either yes, 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 or no, I don't care at all. And if you are someone that's yes, 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 mechanically, structurally, it's very sound minus those 2 small pet peeves I gave earlier. Price-wise, I would say it's a touch high for what I've played. If you were going to just ask me coming off of what I've played, what I think the game's worth, I would say it's about a $15 title. At $20, is that unreasonable? No, probably not. Probably considering the programmers have put a lot of time into creating this. There's a lot of interlooping systems that they've put together. It just, in a very heavily saturated video game market, it feels a little pricey for what they're asking for. but I've very much enjoyed my gameplay. I can't wait to see how they flesh this out and how it goes into final launch, and I plan on coming back to it from time to time as I'm doing other things, as just a nice little palate cleanser of a video game. All right, well, that's my thoughts on Factorio. Until next time, this has been Paler. Thanks for watching.